guys, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be building a 3D printed remote control car. And actually I should say, well, it's going to have 3 wheels because I just have one motor here. It's going to power the back wheel, so it'll be more of like a trike. But these are some of the electronics that we'll be using. We have our remote, we have our receiver, a little servo, and this one right here actually has a metal gear on top, and the gears on the inside are also metal, so that's pretty nice. We have our 30 amp motor, 40 amp speed controller, and a small 3S battery. So these are the electronics that we're going to be using. So we're going to go ahead and start 3D printing. So this is kind of what the car is going to look like. The battery goes in this center area here. The servo goes in this gap right here. And on the program, I made some holes to screw in this top bar, which holds in the wheel spindles. And yeah, also this wheel here, and it's a flexible, more like rubbery material. So yeah, now we're going to go ahead and assemble the car. Alright, so we're going to start by just gluing the rubber onto the rims for all 3 tires. Alright, so all 3 tires are now glued together, and we are going to get the back tire, and it just goes onto the motor like that, and then tighten down this nut. And you can already see that there are 4 holes on the back here. So we're going to get our motor and screw it in. Alright, so the motor is mounted and it's pretty sturdy. I did have to get a screwdriver and heat it up and just melt the holes a bit bigger. And now we're going to put in the wheel spindles. They look like this. We have some holes in here where the servo arm will connect to. And then this top piece has a hole on top. And then kind of just pop it over top. And it looks like that. So you can see the spindle can move freely on both sides. And now I'm going to screw this top piece in with 2 more screws. Alright, so the top bar is now installed. It's not going anywhere, I can tell you that. And now, for the wheels, I made it so on this side the hole's bigger, and on this side the hole's really small. So the wheel can pop on, and it can spin freely. And then I'll just put a screw in the end here to hold it in place. Alright, so now that the tires are in, and I got some oil in there so they spin better, now I'm going to put the servo in this little square hole right here, and then screw it in. You can see there's 2 holes there. Alright, so I got the servo in, and it's in there really tight, so I'm not even going to worry about the screws. So now what we're going to do is we're going to grab one of these servo arms here, and it comes with a screw already. We're going to screw it on there, and then we'll be attaching some wire from that arm to these 2, and then it can turn the wheels. Alright, so once you've cut your wire, I like to bend it in like the shape of an S, and then that way when you put it in your servo arm, you can put it in straight, and then it bends around the corner like that, and then it can't come out. And then for the other side, we'll do the same thing. Alright, so I got the wire in, it's the right length. Now let's bend the end in. Now you can see it's all hooked up. So you can see when we turn the servo, the wheels turn as well. So now that that's hooked up, we are going to get our speed controller, our battery, and also the receiver, and then we'll just figure out where it's gonna go. For the motor, you just connect all three of them, and if the motor spins in the wrong direction, you just change two of them. So that's pretty simple. So put that in like that. And then I have an adapter that goes from the battery to the ESC, just since they are different connections. And then the receiver wires will plug into the receiver, and there'll maybe some zip ties or some glue just to hold all these wires in place. And when you're plugging in your electronics to your receiver, on the little connections here, this is from the speed controller, these little shiny metal pieces, the connections you can see, they're gonna face towards the top of the receiver. And I also wanted to mention that I got a battery voltage buzzer, and it's important to have one of these for your LiPo batteries, just because if you drain it below the recommended amount, it can do damage to your battery. So I got one of these, and it gives a loud beep, and then it tells you the overall voltage, and then the first cell's voltage, the second cell's voltage, and the third. And it has a buzzer built in, so when the voltage of each cell gets to a certain amount, it'll start buzzing. So I'm gonna glue that on here. And I also 3D printed this spoiler here, and I'm just going to glue that on the back right here. Alright, so the spoiler is glued on. So now we're gonna plug it in and see if it works. Wow, that seems like it has a lot of power. So we're gonna go take it outside and see what happens. Alright, so two quick things. First one, I put a weight on the front just to give it a bit more power for steering. Also, the wheel just fell off. The spindle broke, so I reprinted some with some flexible material. And I think that should hold up a bit better. So we're gonna go ahead and install that, and then we can go back out and test it out. Well, it works pretty good. It's just as soon as you try to give it more throttle, it just spins out. That right there was only maybe less than a quarter throttle. And that's just because as soon as you give it more, it just spins out. So we'll keep trying. Alright, so I just taped the GoPro onto this little car here so you can get a little view of what it's like on board. Alright, so as you guys saw with the onboard footage, it went pretty quick having some weight on the back. So I put my cell phone on there with the speedometer app, and I taped it up, and I even put a bit of foam in there. So it should be fine even if it rolls. I mean, I'm not planning on rolling it, but we'll see. So this records the duration, start time, and underneath the tape there it says top speed. Alright, so we're gonna restart the time on the app here, and we're gonna see how fast it goes. Top speed was 15.6 miles per hour. That's probably not the top speed. It was only about half to 3/4 throttle. It was getting kind of sketchy. I didn't want to have my phone on there doing about 30, and then in case it rolls. Alright, so this 3D printed car did pretty good. I did add a weight in the front here to help with steering. And one of the issues was getting the power down to this rear wheel. If you give it too much throttle, it would just sit there and do a donut, which is cool and everything, but it'd only go about 15 miles per hour. And trying to go above that, it just spin out. I did end up changing the wheel spindles, having it made out of hard plastic with all the little bumps. It would just snap off and break, and I already went through a couple of them. So I ended up changing that to a more flexible material. So the wheels do have a bit of play in them, but it absorbs the shock from all the bumps. I did also add this weight here at the front to help with steering. And that's the end of today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to give it a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.